It's Tuesday, November 17th, and the markets are lower after U.S. retail sales gains slowed in October ahead of the holiday season. I'm Catherine Ross, and I am joined live by Jim Cramer. Jim, with retail sales driving markets lower, what is Action Alerts Plus watching in this market?
Well, look, we have to watch what Amazon's doing. We own Amazon, which has been fantastic, but we also own CBS, which is up to 73. We got a little greedy there because now it's back to well, it's getting hammered. I mean, it's not going to stabilize. I don't think at 68. I think there's when we had this before with PillPack. Uh, Frankly, it went down the second day too. There's been no value creation of CVS in 2 years, which is really rather remarkable. That makes it more like Kohl's than it does like Home Depot. But I would say this: CVS is a better company than it was last time around. The Aetna integration is good. They're finally spewing some cash, but do I wish I were in it today? No. I mean, obviously, it's just getting hammered, and I think that it's going to continue to be hammered as long as the analysts are so pro Amazon. So I expect tomorrow to be another down day, and if you haven't bought it yet, you should buy it then.
Jim, investors may not be so familiar with a stock that you mentioned earlier this morning, and that's Cummins. So I want you to break down why this is a stock that you are watching.
Well, look, I think that I follow my Twitter feed pretty well, and people hate me that I'm interested in hydrogen. I think it's interesting because it's not really a hateable topic. There's a lot of reasons to hate things, but the idea that what I said was that hydrogen is a long term. This is my view. It's very similar to Cummins. Cummins says that hydrogen is a long term fuel. We don't know when it's going to be actually commercial, but we're going to get on it, and that's what Cummins is saying, and that's what Lindy is saying, and I think that that's what I'm saying, which is that yes, electronic vehicles are here now. I've got Lordstown on tonight. I mean, very exciting situation. I've been featuring many companies that are involved with electrical. I've been behind Tesla. There'll be people who say that I didn't get behind Tesla at the very beginning. That's true. At the very beginning, it wasn't that good though. And I was waiting for a moment when I didn't think it was that dangerous, which was the moment they fixed the balance sheet. But I do think that alternative vehicles are something that must be explored, including hydrogen.
Jim, last night you essentially said that no seasoned money manager would take the risk that younger investors are taking, but they have a little fear and an abundance of faith. So while it's been working so far, is it really time for younger investors to start doing their homework as we prepare for vaccines and possibly a return to normal sometime later in 2021?
Well, I do think they do homework. I think that they do homework in the sense of trends and themes. If the let's take their view on the cruise ships. I mean, no one's cruising, yet they bought these things consistently when they were lower, and that was a great trade. I mean, it's a great investment too. I mean, look, they like Tesla. They love NIO. That's been a huge win. I mean, I think they're very smart. As a matter of fact, I think that this whole generation of people who seeded their money to index funds uh, ended up being in 494 stocks that weren't any good versus six that were good. I mean, I just think that what they're capable of doing is thinking, wow, you know what? I can pick the best. Why do I have to have all the worst with the best? So, I mean, look, I believe that you should own index funds and own individual stocks. The people who believe in index funds never allow you to own individual stocks. And who the hell are they to do that? I think that the younger investors are very, very aware of trends, and they're the ones who bought Plug at 3 and sold it yesterday at 25 if they wanted to. They're much better than people think, and we're much worse than people think. Although I'm not really an
Jim,
index guy, I'm an individual stock, but you know what I mean.
Jim, there's a stock that we were talking about a couple weeks ago that I want to circle back to, and that's Plug Power. So I want to ask if now is the time to buy Plug Power as the stock is lower following a stock offering that was discounted to its closing price on Monday.
Well, I think that it's up from that, but I think you got to wait because I think the market is not a great time for that stock right now. We got to let that settle in. The market was really, really overbought, and I don't think one day is going to make it up for it. I do think that the things that are working though are the old state, classic stay-at-home stocks, and Plug is not a classic stay-at-home stock. So I'm just a little bit concerned, not much. If someone wants to say, "Listen, I really want to be in it," that's fine, but this isn't the level. I'd like to see if that. I really want to see, frankly, if that floor of where they did the deal holds. If it does, then I think you're okay. But I like to see. I mean, I think one of the hallmarks of what I've learned in my career is you want to see. You want to see whether Tesla's really going to make it before you make a commitment to Tesla. You want to make a commitment to Nvidia, you got to be sure that Nvidia is going to have the product line. There are lots of people who can make. I mean, I made a commitment to Salesforce when Salesforce was at about $8. It's at 256. When I make a commitment to like something, I'm not going to just dislike it. A lot of people think I'm a flip flopper. Well, they're idiots. I mean, think about it. I like Facebook. I liked Amazon. I like Netflix. I wouldn't have created Fang if I didn't like them. Fang now. So what I look at is, some of these stocks can really have very, very big long term runs. And I like to be sure before I get on it that it's going to have one of those. That's what you always hope for when you buy a stock is a big run, not just a little run.
Well, speaking of Tesla, there was some big news. So what does Tesla's inclusion in the S&P 500 mean for the future of the company?
Well, I mean, I think that uh, just it's really an acknowledgement that it's very hard to not have that company in the S&P given it's so big. Uh, I think that Tesla is just a phenomenal success. That people want Teslas no matter what. They're just going to get better, better, and better because Musk is so good. So, I mean, I think it's about time. How about that? It's about time.
Looking at a retail powerhouse, I want to talk to you about Walmart. Their e-commerce sales soared by 79% in this quarter. Do you expect Walmart's e-commerce to just become stronger as we head into this holiday season?
Well, yeah, I think Walmart. There's been the last 4 quarters. It rallied into the quarter and then sold down. This time it rallied into the quarter. All the different things are sped up in this market. It rallied into the quarter, then went to 154, and then boom, 148, and now it's working its way back. And that's pretty much the way. I mean, that's the dip that I said people should buy. Now, I don't know if it continues to go higher because, like I said, we're overbought. But I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be getting hammered. It was a really great quarter, and when someone was down 3, I said, "This is ridiculous."
Jim, Home Depot is yet another company that beat expectations and is making its pandemic pay raises permanent. From an investing standpoint, were you impressed by this quarter? And then I also want to ask from an economic standpoint, should these big companies that are benefiting from our current normal ensure that pay increases are permanent?
Well, I mean, look, Home Depot is down because people think that this trade is over. This is a Home Depot's down like the housing stocks are all down. They're down because these were trades, stay-at-home trades that people now say are done because of Pfizer and Moderna. Now, Home Depot's being undone by Pfizer and Moderna. It's just as soon as Amazon is undoing CVS. I mean, these companies have enemies, and the enemy is the vaccine. And that's what's happening to Home Depot. And I wouldn't make a bet again in favor of Home Depot or against it. I prefer Lowe's, if only just because Lowe's has so many things that it's got to fix that it's kind of like interesting after if they do it a little bit better than people think, it could be good. So I think you have to wait till tomorrow. Home Depot's price earnings multiple is much higher than Lowe's.
And Jim, there are some retailers who still aren't able to keep up with the heavyweights such as Kohl's. So how can Kohl's turn their disappointing
Well, people are
quarterly
liking
net
Kohl's
sales?
today. I think that that's a mistake.
I don't have an answer for that.
Oops,
Is there some?
that's Siri. They're
Siri doesn't
liking
have an
Kohl's
answer
very
to
much.
that.
I find Kohl's. I totally get that. It was better than expected. There are people who are going to rally to it. It's got very big volume today. My problem is that what does it do ultimately? What does it do when we have to stay at home? What does it do if we don't get the vaccine in time? that I think that people are very concerned that the vaccine is far off, and even though Pfizer's starting to ship it to certain states, people are saying, "Well, why do I want Pfizer versus Moderna?" Now, I mean, it's interesting. People hate me so much who follow me. I said, why own something that is 90% good when you can own something that's 95% good? Same kind of thing with vaccines. Thank you, Matt Horween, for pointing this out to me. But then immediately people just hate me and say, "Well, don't you understand that 90 from Pfizer is better than 95 from Moderna?" And I don't understand that. I don't understand that because I bet you that Pfizer could give its factories over to Moderna and watch it. Remember, Pfizer is really the seller of the drug. It's a company in Germany that invented it. So you can say that Pfizer invented it, but that would be ill-advised.
Jim, Amazon unveiled their Amazon Pharmacy this morning. How long until we get everything delivered to our door, from prescriptions to groceries, from Amazon or companies such as Walmart?
Well, there's really not much left, Catherine. They're I guess they could sell you cars. Costco does that. They could do insurance, maybe sell you insurance. But I think that most of the hard goods, they've kind of figured everything out. That's still to figure out. This is something that they had been waiting for a long time. I mean, other than what are the other big markets? I mean, cars is that's really, I don't know. I mean, maybe they give you a big break on Chinese cell phones. Maybe they can do that.
Maybe they could become a competitor to T-Mobile, Verizon.
Right. Yeah,
I
that
mean,
takes
there's
a lot of
options.
money because then you got to build out all those towers. You got to build out your network. And those are all kind of regional company. You can go to their little stores. I think that'd be hard. I don't know if that would work for them.
Well, let's stick with the cars thing, because you just mentioned Costco, and Costco declared a special cash dividend of $10 a share. But can Costco stay this strong even after we get a vaccine?
Yeah, see, I think Costco's they haven't even scratched the surface of e-commerce yet, and they would tell you that. I mean, they're incredibly good, but they know that they have a lot more work to do. And I expect them to do that work, but I do think that before they do it, you're going to have to go through. I mean, they're doing it gradually. I mean, they're not doing it overnight. In the same way, they're not doing China overnight. They're doing it gradually because that's the way Costco works. I mean, Costco likes everything to be perfect, and we know that things are perfect at Costco. So they're not in a hurry. Look at that balance sheet. Look at the cash they're spewing. Look at how clean their stores are and how oriented toward masking they are. And you understand that they've got a huge following of people who want to go shopping and not get sick. By the way, there are a lot of people who are on my Twitter feed over and over again who say the disease is not a big. I totally get that. They're looking at the number of deaths and saying it's not a big deal. I think that the notion of looking at deaths has got to be one of the most stupid things I've ever seen. The fact is that there are so many people who are scarred for this. So many people, we don't understand what happened to them. And you have to put them into this category of, well, when you get the flu, you're over. You're over the flu in a certain number of days. And I find it is like my daughter was sick for, I don't know, for 3 weeks. One of my friends of 32 years was in the ICU for 3 weeks and then was upstairs in another room for 2 weeks. No, neither has any comorbidities. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's absolutely true that you can think it's nothing. But the fact is that there are many people who have been leveled by it, who didn't die. And I think the people who think it's nothing, and so therefore we should just have a ball, are people who are obtuse. I mean, I've not seen people disagree with the facts the way they are now. And plus, of course, elderly, you presume that they're going to die. So they're going to die anyway. I mean, the heartlessness, the disgusting, moronic view. It is not worth it. I block every single one of these. And then they say, well, you're a free speech blocker. Oh, I don't give a damn. So I block whatever I want. It's a goddamn Twitter feed, for heaven's sake. But, I just think that and then people say stick to stocks. Okay, I'll stick to stocks. The Nasdaq's coming back really well. That's where you want to be. Why do you want to be in the Nasdaq? Because the economy's slowing. Because retail sales are slowing. But anybody who thinks that is not a big deal, I mean, they're just frightening. They're frightening people. Now, it is absolutely true that the president got Regeneron's drug. You go get Regeneron's drug. The president got it. He made it seem like, once again, it was no big deal. I mean, he's incredible. I mean, the fact that you have so many people who are dying from it, even if it is 0.4%, it's just a lot of people. And they didn't need to die. How about that? They didn't need to die because they're not dying in other countries. And you could say, well, hold it, they're dying in Europe, but we're better than Europe. I mean, that's like saying, look, we're going to lose World War II. I don't know. But anyway, it's disgusting. And it's moronic. And these people who don't care about elderly, and how about they don't care about healthcare workers and doctors? Shame on them. Shame on them. They're really just, why don't they go look at some of the nurses and what they have to do? So anyway, my Twitter feed is disgusting.
And taking a step back and adding to what you've been saying, Jim.
Why?
I mean, it's
Why?
not about the debt. Well, I'm saying it's not about it. It's about the deaths, yes, but it's also about the fact that we are putting a lot of pressure onto the hospital system right now. I'm looking at the COVID-19 tracking project, and there were 73,000 hospitalizations reported just yesterday. I mean, that's a lot of people across the United States who have been put into the hospital. And then you're looking at about 148,000 cases reported just yesterday. Think about, how many of those may need the hospital in a week, that may need a hospital in a couple of days.
Why are people, so who would ever write, I mean, the hospital that I was born in, overrun, Albert Einstein Hospital in Philadelphia. Who are these people who think that it's not a big deal, Catherine?
Unfortunately, it seems like it's a lot of people that I come in contact with every day, and you come in contact every day. I mean, the issue here is a larger issue of misinformation across the internet, and a lot of confusion, where, I was listening to NPR's Up First this morning, and they were talking about in Montana, people weren't sure if it was just another case of the common cold, or, if this was just a big conspiracy theory that was being put out there. And I think that comes down to what you and I have touched upon a lot, and especially in this show and in the past couple of months, is the lack of overall leadership and the lack of overall certainty of, okay, how can we stop the hospitalizations, or at least, slow them down? How can we slow down the spread? Right. There's a lot of, confusion. And so I think that this comes to, it unfortunately falls on President-elect Biden's transition team to really come in and give us clear guidelines of, okay, here's why we need masks being worn every place that you go out that has multiple people. Here's why your Thanksgiving dinner shouldn't have more than maybe 10 people when there's 130 plus thousand cases being reported a day. It's all about being careful and being mindful of your environment.
I agree with that. It's very dispiriting.
And with that, it is very dispiriting, Jim, and we are just in the thick of it right now. So I hope that, we can all remain cautious. We can, as you said, remain more diligent about protecting our elderly, about protecting our neighbors.
Right.
And not
In the
just
meantime,
ourselves.
those who think I should stick to stocks, again, I called the bottom in the Nasdaq. That was right. And I remain committed to the idea that if everybody wore masks, we'd have less sickness. Now you may say, well, so what? And so what if you get sick? Well, then go get sick, okay? Just get sick. Get out of my face and get sick.
Jim, we have an exciting show coming up on our Action Alerts Plus daily rundown over on actionalertsplus.com. So I want to get over there so you can give more of your insights. Absolutely. So guys, head on over there. I'm
Make
Catherine
some money
Ross,
with
and we'll see you
stocks.
tomorrow.